Hello, Internet. I'm back again with some tech news for you today. This is my second day wearing my contacts, and I'm still getting used to them, so bear with me if I do any very strange looking blinks. But today I'm going to start with some car tech news in a sense. For a little context too of me, I'm a big car guy in a way. I'm not like as big as some people are. I'm not like a huge mechanic, but I've kind of liked cars all my life to some sense or another. So, and recently I went on a very long road trip across the United States, taking a Tesla from San Diego to Charlotte, North Carolina, and that was very interesting. For one, it was the lower charge model. It only had I think it had just under 300 miles total capacity. It was like 250 or something like that. So we had to stop the charge pretty frequently. Every around, I think max we can make it around like 3 hours if we were lucky. But it was really every 2 hours or so we were stopping and charging up. And luckily, there is a lot of Tesla superchargers, especially with the Teslas. You can map out your route to make sure that you stop at a supercharger along the way. So that was pretty convenient, as the charges usually lasted around 45 minutes to an hour. Not nearly as quick as gas, but we would take a break, we would walk around, we would check something out, we would eat food. So it really depended on how far we could get in the day, depending on how many charges we had to do and so forth. We could travel around, I don't know, a state or two a day, depending on the amount of miles. I don't have a very good metric in my head of what of how long exactly we got, but I'm very familiar with this topic from this article on The Verge, and I'm going to pull it up right now. And yeah, we're just continuing the trend of the Verge articles. They seem to have pretty decent articles, and tech stuff they usually update pretty fairly often, and I tend to like their content. So the Verge article: an analysis of 20,000 EV stations concludes that charging is still a massive bummer. Yes, for the most part. Tesla superchargers, not too bad. They're a little bit of a bummer, not quite as much of a massive bummer. But the non-superchargers, if it is a very standard slow charger, you could be sitting there for upwards of like 3 hours or more, depending on how much charge you want. If you want to go to full or not, depending on where you're at in your battery. So that can kind of suck. And that's not even the worst thing, because I don't necessarily recommend taking a Tesla across the country unless you have time to kill and you're fine with maybe some little hiccups here and there, maybe some slowdowns or having to wait a long time for a charge here and there. But I think the biggest issue is what this article tends to talk about, how it's the survey and study kind of surveys people for a bunch of different chargers. And one of the biggest issues seems to be what it calls a zombie station, or I think they also say like ghost station or something like that. Basically, if you look on like Google Maps or something, like, oh, there's a charger there, or whatever app you're using, and then you get there, then the charger is either broken or it doesn't exist anymore. That could be a huge issue, especially if you're doing some sort of cross-country travel and you really needed that charge to get to your next destination. I don't think that'll ever happen really with Tesla chargers for the most part, unless they're in a very remote location. But excuse me, for the most part, they're pretty well maintained for all the Tesla superchargers. But these other random kind of EV charge stations are very much either a coin flip, or I would kind of describe it as, I would try to go to a place that probably has another charger within 20 miles or so, and that you have enough charge to get there. If that one doesn't work, you better be safe than sorry. Because the thing with all these charging stations is they seem to be very I don't know if unregulated is the right word, but they're kind of just like their own thing in a way. A lot of these charging stations, they're just like at a grocery store. They're these random little things on the road. And it's not like with gas stations. Gas stations are, I, I don't know, I've maybe only had a few times in my life where a gas station was out of gas or like all the pumps were broken or something was so wrong that like I couldn't get gas there. With charging stations, it's like you're at the mercy of whatever company is putting in these chargers or whatever circumstances is going on. And things like this photo I just find hilarious. This is very common with like charging stations, like just needing this super long cable, and it's like all the ports are on the other side, and it's you're trying to charge on that side of the street, and the caption is like, how long do you think these stress cables and retractors would last? And it's like these things break like all the time. It's like I mean yeah, pumps and stuff break at gas stations, but you can usually guarantee that there's a few of them, and although the infrastructure for EVs is getting a lot better, like the supercharger network across the US, I think is one of the coolest things that you can even do that. You can even go across the United States and feel pretty confident that you're going to make it if you use all the Tesla superchargers, and it's not going to be too terrible. But it's not to the level of gas stations, not even close. And I don't even know if it'll be there within the next 5 years. Maybe if EVs continue to sell super well, maybe in the next 10 or so, it'll be similar. But right now, it's like it's not even close. You don't have that kind of ease of mind of knowing, all right, I'm going to a gas station and I'm gonna get my gas and I'm gonna be able to go. With EVs, it's kind of interesting. I think EVs are great for kind of a daily driver around town, but if you make a lot of trips and things, it's not the most convenient car in my opinion. But I would definitely buy a Tesla if I had the budget and I had solar. I'll do it then. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think EVs are gonna stick around? Are they gonna keep on growing in popularity? I know governments are pushing towards it. And let me know about your personal thoughts with EVs and charging, and if you have any things to input on this discussion. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.